Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about some very interesting charts and how we can foresee what may be happening in different countries around the world by looking at the leaders of the country, looking at the Pisces new moon chart used in Vedic astrology to predict the entire year of what's happening, plus looking at the country's charts. So with all of this in hand, we can make some pretty interesting predictions. So looking at the New Year chart, which is when the moon is new in Pisces, which occurs in the months around March and April. And in that chart, I found that when I put the longitude and latitude of England in, that I found some very difficult things that might be happening in England. So pulling up that chart, the new moon chart, which the new moon occurs in Pisces on the 24th of March, of course 2020, so it's good till the next year. It predicts what's happening for London, England. And what I found was the Mars, Saturn, Pluto, which are pretty much the culprit of what's going to activate things around the world. It's a trigger. It fell in the 8th house for the chart of England. The 8th house is the house of endings. It can deal with scandal, disgrace, major problems. So I thought, whoa, what's going on there? And of course, the royal family has been under fire because, well, let me put it this way. Prince Andrew's in trouble. And this may definitely have its effects on his mother, which this is stressful, this is difficult, but it affects the feeling of the entire country because the royal family is such a symbol of what we think of when we think of England, Great Britain, United Kingdom. This is what we think about, the monarchy. So I thought, well, looking at this looks like there is a lot going on that can deal with disgrace, humiliation, and endings. I thought, well, let's take a glance at the chart I have for England. So putting up the chart for England, this is quite an old chart, but it's the only one that keeps coming up when I search the birth chart for England. And in this chart is actually the year of 1066. But putting up this chart for London, England, look at the configuration that we have once again in Capricorn. We have got Mars, Venus, and Mercury all in the sign of Capricorn. And if this, we're not quite sure about the time, but putting 12 noon, it does end up in the 10th house, which is the social standing, which is reputation. But the moon Ketu in this chart represents something very deep and hidden. And being in Pisces, that's another indicator that something's up in this country because we have that. Well, of course, it's always going to be the new moon in Pisces, but something is definitely going to be triggered that represents disgrace, humiliation, and that England will be, Great Britain will be a focal point for the world this year. So the next chart that I thought, well, I have to look and see what Queen Elizabeth's chart looks like with all of these things I'm starting to see, and realize that Prince Harry has pretty much disconnected from the royal family by moving with his new wife to the United States or Canada. And her son, Prince Andrew, he's in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of disgrace from humiliation from his doings with Jeffrey Epstein. So let's look at the Queen's chart to see how she's being affected throughout all these turbulent times. So putting up the Queen of England's chart right here, notice that she has a Sagittarius ascendant. Sagittarius has been under fire for years. Why? Because all of last year, well, for the last 2 years, Saturn's been in Sagittarius with K2 and her ascendant being 28 degrees. Towards the end of the year in 2019, Saturn was right on her ascendant. This is tough. She's been going through a very difficult time, dealing with all of these family issues. So, but looking at the Queen's chart, notice she has Jupiter and Mars conjunct in what? Capricorn, in the second house. Well, you may say Jupiter's debilitated in Capricorn, but whenever a planet is debilitated, but it's with a planet that's exalted, guess what? It cancels the debilitation. So her Jupiter-Mars in the second house, exalted Mars in Capricorn, denotes great wealth, extreme wealth. Money comes to her. And you know what you may not know about her. She wasn't meant to be the queen. There's all sorts of things that happened historically that put her into this position, but it wasn't expected. She wasn't supposed to be there initially. I think a lot of that can be seen by the fact of major turnarounds and unexpected events concerning her home, her family, her heritage. Why? Because notice the Uranus conjunction with Mercury in the fourth house. Sudden, unexpected change and surprise. But her sun is exalted in the fifth house. And yes, she has 4 children and very prominent ones. The sun is very, very strong. So Prince Charles is probably what this denotes. And the sun in the fifth house will also denote male children. Although she has sons, she has a daughter, but still the most powerful and her children are powerful are depicted by the sun being exalted in the fifth house, and the sun does denote male children as well. So looking at her moon, this is really important because her moon is in Cancer in the 8th house. There has been so much disgrace, humiliation that has fallen onto the royal family throughout the years. And with the divorce of Diana, with the death of Diana, with what's happening today, and many things, you just can't imagine what this woman's been through and what she's a part of, because it's secret. Why? It's a moon in the 8th house. This is secret agendas. And I want to say this too. When a moon is in the 8th house, it can deal with much disgrace, humiliation, but there's a lot that even she doesn't know in the royal family that's behind all of this in terms of her heritage, her mother, her mother's mother, this whole scheme of history with her family. There are things we don't know, and there's even things she doesn't know. The 8th house is very, very difficult and very, very secretive. So things we'll never know about this family that she probably will keep secret, but some of it she doesn't even know. And maybe some of it deals with the cast of power and what has been put upon this family. I don't even pretend to know what's going on with this moon in Cancer. By the way, the moon in Cancer is highly sensitive. But remember, Cancer is this sign that deals with a hard shell. But what's underneath the crab on the inside? Mush. So this is, she does have feelings, even though she would never let the world see or know what's going on deep within. But Neptune being with the moon in the 8th house, oh my God, there are secrets galore with this family. Secrets and scandals. We don't know. But I think she knows. And I think it's hard for her to live with it. But let's get on going with what's befalling on her this year. Because with the Mars and Saturn coming together in the second house, Saturn is going to oppose the moon. That's tough, emotionally. And physically even, it's very tough. And as we look, she is even in a dasha where the sub-cycle planet is the moon right now. It's in the 8th house. The 8th house deals with endings. And she has got to take care of herself because of the fact that this Mars-Saturn conjunction in the second house, it's dealing with what? Family. And the second house is a Marika house. We won't get into that, but let me just say this. She needs to be very careful watching her health and watching the rulership of England. So there is a lot happening this year in accordance to this chart, and even the month of March and April. It's very, very difficult for England and the monarchy and the Queen. So with that, let's just say we want the best to happen for England. So may our prayers go to England and support that beautiful country. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information about me, consultation, or my free newsletter, go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.